The Indiana Beach stunt team. It's a really cool show up here in Monticello, and it's basically the way that all the American high divers got their start into high diving. This platform here is the only place in Indiana, I think, that you can go above 10 meters that has a legitimate platform. So the stunt show is a great way to get some practice and just kind of orient yourself into the high diving world.
This is sort of a piece of a larger set of competition for you with the Red Bull team. What's it like to be able to do this for a living?
Cliff diving is absolutely incredible. I mean, me and Steve, we absolutely love it, and we feel just so fortunate that we get to do this and make a living off of it. Between the travel and the diving itself, and really the brotherhood amongst the other competitors is just one of the best things about it. We absolutely love it, and it's so much fun. It's such a cool opportunity. We get to go to so many cool places, and it's a dream come true, really.
This is actually my first time back near Purdue since I graduated and left. So it's always nice to get back to your old stomping grounds and see a lot of friends and try to maintain a close relationship with our coach as well, who's been extremely helpful in letting us train at Purdue. And then to, come back to where it all started, where I learned how to high dive. This is absolutely incredible. David and Kyle Mitrione put together a nice platform up here. It's a little bit higher than what I started on, but it's really set up great, and it's a great place to be.
David seemed to indicate that it's pretty unique that the three Americans that are part of the Cliff Red Bull Tour kind of all have the same roots background at Purdue, that other countries don't necessarily have that.
It's interesting, really. I mean, we really kind of came up out of the college ranks, and I kind of got into it. I knew entertainment was the way I wanted to go starting, and really, you're told from such a young age that there's no money in diving, and that really kind of sticks with you. And so I was sort of out to prove otherwise, but more than that, I just wanted to keep diving. It's a sport I've trained for so long, and it's such a part of who I am and what I do. So I just wanted to keep diving, and the way to do that was, kind of bump it up a little bit higher. And Kyle and David saw it, and we kind of came out and, like you said, just formed the U.S. team out of Purdue, and have a great background in the technical stuff. Even Kyle Mitrione and I grew up diving together in New Jersey before we came out to Purdue. A lot of the divers on tour have a pretty technical background now. You'll find that some of the older guys maybe don't have it quite as much, but what they don't have in the technical background, they make up for in experience. So it's always a challenge being out against those guys.
The transition to high diving for most platform divers is definitely an interesting one. I kind of took the short route and just did one year at Indiana Beach here, learned the high dives, and submitted my application to Red Bull, and just went out, tried out in Australia, and made the team first year. With Steve, it's a little bit different. He kind of did the whole high diving go around. He did stunt shows over in China. He's been on a cruise ship before. He kind of worked his way up to it. So it's a little bit different for everybody, and it's definitely nerve-wracking. going up there for the first time, you got your knees shaking and your heart's pounding. But once you kind of get used to the height and start doing some normal dives, it really kind of comes together, and you just go with it.
What's your favorite thing about traveling, to these international destinations like Europe, Australia, what have you?
I'm super big into culture. I really enjoy learning a new culture, trying the new foods. Local foods are one of my favorite things. Local food and drink is always something that you look forward to when you go somewhere. Other than that, really, the opportunity to travel presents so many more opportunities. It opens so many doors, and you meet new people and you make these connections. And for us right now, it's all happening. We're talking with sponsors, and we're trying to set up big things inside the U.S. and really promote the sport. So I think between all the connections and the culture and things like that, we get a pretty good range of experiences.
Sounds like you spent a year on a cruise ship in China doing some unique diving elements. Could you maybe highlight some of the high points, that kind of the transition from that into the Red Bull Tour?
Sure. Again, everything I did post-college was to just keep diving. That's all I ever wanted to do, was just keep going. And so you put on a funny costume and you do some silly dives, and to me that's great. It's still diving. At the end of the day, I'm diving for a living. And so you know, you look at all the different shows. Like I said, I spent a year in China doing a lot of stunt work, actually, not so much high diving, a little more like fire burns and jet skiing and stunt fighting. It's this huge live action show. And then I transitioned to the cruise ship, which is a little more serious. It kind of got me back into the serious aspect of diving and back into high diving a little bit. So, I mean, you look at all these places and you come away from each location with a new experience and some new techniques, things like that, that you learned from somebody, different high divers. So you really carry all that and you keep it with you.
And you also have some unique ties down in Fort Lauderdale to Pinecrest, kind of been able to pay that forward to the current Boilermakers when they've gone down there for winter training?
I actually just saw Dan and the swimmers down there for winter training, and it was great. I hadn't seen Dan since I left, and Dan is actually a huge part of my life as well. You know, he kept me at Purdue University when we were in between coaches, you know, searching for Adam Soldati when Wimbo Chen left. So he played a huge part on my continuation of diving at Purdue, which is great. Being down there is great. Coaching, again, I'm involved with diving, and that's all I really ever wanted to do. And so I'm exploring opportunities here and there, but coaching diving is always such a great, it's a great feeling, really. You see these kids and you learn to get excited for, like, you're thinking outside of yourself, you're getting excited for your kids, and that's a whole new feeling for us. Like, I think most of the time we're worried about our emotions and things like that, but you can really cut loose and have a lot of fun with these kids, and when they learn something, man, it's like, yeah, he did it! You know what I mean? It's a great feeling, so it's nice to be there.
How much do you get to explore, you know, some of these countries that you get to compete in?
You know, it's nice. The Red Bull has a pretty cool schedule. We get about a week in each country, and you get at least a day or two just to acclimate, get rid of the jet lag, and stretch out and warm up. They try to plan some type of sightseeing adventure, or go out and just get used to the local culture and experience yourself in all these cool places. We get to try local food, local drinks, and if there's anything special about the places that we're at, they usually try to highlight that and take us around. So yeah, we definitely get to explore and see the world, which is awesome.
How unique is it that, you know, the main Americans on this Red Bull cliff diving tour are, you know, have Purdue backgrounds? I mean, do other countries have guys from the same areas like that?
I don't think they do. You know, it's definitely an interesting coincidence that, I mean, now there's three of us, me, Kyle, and Steve, all graduated from Purdue around the same time and all got into high diving. I don't know if it was just something in the water that year or something weird, but yeah, we all just absolutely love it, and we come. I think it also shows and kind of speaks miles for the program that Purdue has and what Adam Soldati has done there, and just the love of diving and the hard work that we all put into it. But I don't know about internationally if many guys come from the same spot. I think that's definitely a unique thing.
How much different is it when you're talking about basically almost 3 times the height?
Between cliff diving and regular diving?
Between cliff diving and the more traditional diving.
Yeah, I mean, there really aren't that many differences between cliff diving and regular diving. Obviously, the height is the big thing, and then the entry is the other one. With normal, traditional diving, you'll always see divers going on their hands. And with cliff diving, because of the force of entry on the water, you have to go feet first. So the biggest change, technically, really is just learning that entry. And they call it a branny, where you kind of come out, spot the water, really kind of zone in on where you want to land, and then you swivel your hips around over your head and put them down towards the water. Really not that complex. Most divers pick it up really easily. Gymnasts do it really well. And I mean, technically speaking, I would say there are literally thousands of very talented 10-meter platform divers that could do cliff diving. It's just the mental side of the sport that really separates it and separates cliff divers from normal divers. Because honestly, when you get up there and you're on the platform, you just have to visualize it's just like 10 meters, same kind of takeoff, do your normal dive, come out, see the water, do the branny, and come around. So yeah, technically speaking, really not that different from normal diving.
Did the transition phase that you kind of talked about in China and such help when you're going from the, you know, the face first entries with the hands to having to change to feet first for cliff?
Absolutely. Any experience you have at a show where you're making that transition from all the hands first entries to basically teaching yourself how to dive again. You go, okay, well, this is what I would normally do. I've been doing this for 15 years now, and now I have to kind of, you know, go against it. So that's a little tough. And China was actually great for me because we had a good set of platforms. It was a 4 meter, 7 meter, 10 meter, and a 14 meter. So you could get just above 10 meter and sort of get comfortable really, you know, doing the maneuvers you need to do to land on your feet. And so I mean, a year there as a stomping ground was great, and I absolutely loved it.
What's your specialty dive?
My specialty dive right now is a dive that no one else is doing, or actually no one's even tried it before. It's a quint half pike, so it's 5 somersaults with a half twist in the pike position. And a couple guys have tried it tough. One of them got pretty seriously injured. So I mean, it's a reality check. The sport is very, very dangerous, and you have to be mentally gripped with what you're doing. But I would say, you know, rotationally, somersaults are my strength.
David.